Okay, I'm going to make a little video and show you how to do factor by grouping, just in case you were absent or you just kind of want to review each of the methods. So factor by grouping, the dead giveaway that this is what you do, this is your method, is whenever you have four terms. So let's get right after it. Okay, first one, when you have four terms, you look at it and see if all four terms have anything in common. This one they don't, so you immediately start pairing them up. The first two you pair up, and the second two you pair up. So look for something that the first two have in common. So they have a 3 in common, as well as an x, and then you put a little set of parentheses and you try to figure out what should I put in the parentheses so that 3x times something will give me the 12x squared. So of course that would be 4x plus, and then 3x times something has to give you 3x, so we don't really need anything but a 1 there. And then we look at the last two terms and we see what they have in common, and they have a -2. And then we put a little set of parentheses. Now we can always look to the left side here and notice that it should be 4x plus 1. So we go ahead and put the 4x plus 1 there, and then make sure that that's actually true. So 2 times 4x, that equals the -8x there, and then the -2 times the +1 equals the -2. So verifies that we have the same thing in the parentheses. So then whatever we have in parentheses we put first, so we basically are taking that out. That's the GCF of the whole problem. And then after we take out the 4x plus 1, then we see what's left. So there'll be a 3x left over, and then -2. And then make sure you put an extra set of parentheses, and then that's your final answer. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, this one, all four terms, they don't have anything in common, so we just proceed and start pairing them up. So the first two have a 2 and a s in common. So that leaves us with s plus 1, and then the last two terms have a 3 in common. So we take out the 3, and then that leaves us with s plus 1. We're happy because we have an s plus 1 in common, so we take that out, and then we see what's left, and we have a 2s plus 3 left over, and then we put an extra set of parentheses so that it actually works. Now if you want to check these, what you do is you end up multiplying it back out. So I'm not going to do this particular one, I just took up all my room. Well, maybe I will actually. So I multiply this one times this one, so that would be 2s squared, and then I multiply this one times this one, so s times 3, so that would be 3s. And now I distribute the 1 to both terms, so 1 times 2s is 2s, and 1 times 3 is plus 3, and then we're able to combine those two middle terms, so that's 2s squared plus 5s plus 3. And you can see it is, oops, I went one step too far. So this is the same as what we started with. If we combine like terms, then we'd have a trinomial. So, alright, so third one, factor by grouping. So if you have these four terms, you want to look to see if they all four have something in common. They don't, so then we immediately pair up the first two and then the last two. The first two have a 3 and an x in common, so then we see what's left. So there would be a 3x minus y. And then the last two have a 2 in common, and that's it. And that leaves us with 3x minus y. And then we notice that the 3x minus y is in common, so we take that out. And then we see what's left, and we have a 3x plus 2 left over. So then that's our final answer. And the last one I'm going to do is this one here. Now this one actually has a GCF, so if you look at these four terms, they actually have a 2 in common, so we'll take out a 2, and then let's see what's left. So it'd be 2b squared minus 6b plus b, and then minus 3. And then with the remaining 4 terms, we're going to go ahead and do grouping. So the first 2 will have something in common, and the last 2 might have something in common. So we're going to carry the 2 along for the ride, by the way. Just carry it down. So first we're going to take out a 2 and a b and see what's left. So that would be b minus 3. And then we're going to take a 1 out, and that would leave us with b minus 3. And we notice that b minus 3 would be a GCF for both of them. And then that leaves us with 2b plus 1. And then we always have to make sure that we remember to bring that 2 down, because whenever you factor, you always have to make sure that your answer is exactly the same as what you started with. So if, for example, I forgot to bring the 2 down, then there's no way that when I multiplied these 2 together that I would end up with the original problem. I'd be a little bit short. I would have ended up with just this instead of the original problem, which is what this one is. Okay? So hopefully that little 6.5-minute clip helps with factor by grouping.